Yo guys, what's going on? Blossom is back and welcome back to another episode of Top Drives. I'm still in the UK, so as you can see the camera is still a little bit different. You'll be seeing this for the next couple of videos, but fear not, everything else is going to be the same. Microphone's the same, laptop's the same, mouse is the same, Blossom is the same. Well, maybe a little cold now, so I'm wearing the parka. But anyway, today we're going to be reviewing the Christmas Collection Carbon Fiber. Now, it's been a long time since I've done a what can you get from that pack review, and today we're going to do exactly that. Now, I know that there is an elephant in the room that I need to address, and that is the Horror Show pack. I have never talked about the Horror Show pack once on my channel. I never reviewed it, and I've had some people come to me, Blossom, they asked, are you gonna, review the Horror Show pack? The thing is, guys, the answer is in the name. Horror Show is a horror show. The entire pack is genuinely hot garbage, aside from two spikers, one being the Preleator and the other one being the silver one. I don't know what the name is, but everything else is genuinely hot garbage. We're talking Tribeca and Nissan Cross Cabriolet, the Porsche Panamera elephant car. To be honest, I was thinking about making a rant video about the Horror Show pack because I don't know what was going through the mind of Hutch and how this was a good business decision, because this is a pack that you hopefully did not open, because it's probably one of the worst packs ever released in Top Drive's history if you take away my bias. Because if you add in my bias, I think the worst pack is the Volkswagen pack. But yeah, if you take away my bias, the Horror Show pack genuinely lived up to its name. The challenge was a bit of a mess, but I do hope that you did win that grand prize token in the end. I didn't, and I do not regret that at all. But anyway, today we're going to be reviewing the Christmas Collection Carbon Fiber. Now, I have to say that the Christmas Collection Carbon Fiber is a lot better than Horror Show. This is what we expect from the game. If we're going to put in our hard-earned money, to buy packs, make the pack worth it. And I think this pack is a lot better than Horror Show. I'm also looking forward to reviewing the future packs such as Two-Tone and Silver Screen. The Two-Tone one I am actually very excited to review because that is actually looking like a very good pack. But anyway, here are the ranks. In the top tier, we have my number one. These are the best of the best cars in my opinion. Number two is bruh, you're respectable. Number three is I see you. It's kind of like average, not good, not bad. The fourth tier is nah man, you kind of sus though, okay? They're, cars that fall in the fourth category, they might still have some use, but maybe, like I always say, 5 times in the year. And then last but not least, we have hot garbage. I mean, I was tempted to change hot garbage to Horror Show just for the Top Drives meme, but hot garbage is more of a me thing, so I want to keep hot garbage in here. Hot garbage always has to stay. So once again, guys, I'm going to be reviewing this pack from a general standpoint. What that means is that I'm going to be reviewing these cars on how they're going to perform outside of the challenge, in general events, in clubs, in single player, in multiplayer, all that kind of stuff. Because at the end of the day, reviewing packs, especially these packs, for the legendary grand token challenges are, it's kind of irrelevant nowadays, because these challenges require you to have absolutely everything. So even cars that are really bad, well, you're still going to need to use it anyway, because of the, the pool and the selection of cars that you can use is very, very tight. So I'm not going to be reviewing these cars in the challenge sense. I'm going to do it in a general sense, if that makes sense. But anyway, let's get into it. First one is the Subaru Impreza WRX. Now this one is, I see you. Nothing too special about it. It has, as all Subarus do, the common positive attributes, which is medium ground clearance, 4-wheel drive, and they are relatively lightweight. Now what sets this apart from maybe other Subarus is that it handles a little better. There are a couple Subarus that are kind of within that 79 to 81 kind of criteria area. So 82 is not bad. I would say it's not good, but it's not bad. I think another thing about this car, if I remember correctly, let me check, is that it has no traction control. So because of that, it's not really a car that you really want to use in the rain. More of a dry spec. I would probably 233 it. Moving on now is the Subaru Crosstrek Sport. Once again, I'm gonna put it in I see you, but I would say I'll rate it higher than the other Subaru that we just talked about. The main reason for this being is because it handles pretty well. 75 handling for a 4-wheel drive all-surface tire car is impressive, to be honest. But what really sets the Subaru Crosstrek aside from everything else is how lightweight it is. If I remember correctly, it weighs around maybe slightly under 1,500 kgs, which is very, very light for an SUV. I know it's not really an SUV, S8 I guess, but very, very light for a four-wheel drive all-surface tire car. Moving on now is the polar opposite of the Subaru, and that is going to be the Infiniti QX60 all-wheel drive. Now this thing is absolutely hot garbage. I know it's a lot cheaper in RQ, but it handles a lot less by 5 handling points. It has a lower 0 to 60, but it doesn't really matter. It's not much of a dragster SUV anyway, still gonna get destroyed by the Trailblazer, and even some of the lower RQ Mercedes-Benzes. So not a good car. It also has 50 MRA, so very, very sad, and it is very heavy. So like I said, polar opposite of the Subaru Crosstrek. I might change the Subaru Crosstrek and move it up to Bro, You're Respectable. We'll check it out as the video progresses. Next one is going to be the Chevrolet Cobalt SS Turbo. Now this one is definitely Bro, You're Respectable. Now why I think I rate it so highly is because it's in a very small niche, which is front-wheel drive American cars. Not a lot of front-wheel drive American cars in the game. That being said, not a lot of front-wheel drive medium ground clearance performance tire, or not even front-wheel drive, not a lot of performance tire medium ground clearance American cars in the game. So the Chevrolet Cobalt SS Turbo, aside from those niche attributes that it carries, it also has a low 0 to 60, or relatively low 0 to 60, but really what sets it apart is the handling. 85 handling stock is among the highest base handling stats among American ultra rares. I think the highest is 86, so 85 is definitely up there. Same handling as the Corvette Grand Sport, which is the C4 version, or 4th generation. So yeah, the Chevrolet Cobalt SS Turbo is a car that I use quite often, especially in clubs, and I'm definitely putting it under Bro, You're Respectable. Now, next up is going to be, my heart and soul. I love this car so much. It's the Dodge Challenger SRT8. Unfortunately, it's not a very good car. It's very, similar to the Aston Martins from GE, which is, they're kind of the jack of all trades, master of none, and is a car that you want to use to lose by 50. The top speed is high, but the 0 to 60 isn't as low as, I don't know, a Miura, as we'll see in a bit over here, or even the Charger 3. The handling isn't very good either, so it's not a great twisty car, but it's definitely not a great drag car either, because the MRA isn't that high, and although the top speed is high, the 0 to 60 isn't very low. So it's not going to win you a lot of races. It is an absolutely beautiful car, but you're not going to get a lot of value out of it. Like I said, it's like kind of like the Aston Martins from GE. A lot of them have high top speed, but their MRAs aren't very good and their handling is very mediocre. So the Challenger kind of falls in that category. The only thing worse than the Challenger and the Astons, in my opinion, are going to be the Bentleys. Anyway, moving on now is the Dodge Nitro RT. This is definitely a hot garbage. Okay, like the 0 to 60 is low, to be fair, for a RQ56 SUV. But at the same time, when you think about it, the Trailblazer, the Trailblazer SS, or the TBSS as I call it sometimes, the Tuberculosis SS, god, no, that is 1 RQ lower. 1 RQ lower, it has a higher top speed, a lower 0 to 60. It's just going to be the much better car in every account. The Nitro has a relatively low 0 to 60, and I guess the only cool thing about the Nitro, besides the fact that I have one now, is that it's the 6.9 car, right? Because it's 69 handling and 6.9 0 to 60, so hee XD, very funny. But at the end of the day, the Nitro kind of performs like how it looks. It's crap. Moving on now is the Jaguar XE Dynamic S, and this one's also going to be Nah Man, You Are Sus. Now this one I think is going to be a bit of a controversial pick. Much like the Impreza above it, it is also 4-wheel drive, it is also medium ground clearance, but as you can see, it handles a lot less. Top speed is almost the same, and the 0 to 60 is very similar as well. And look at the RQ difference, it's a 3 RQ difference. Now what the Jaguar XE has up its sleeve is traction control and ABS and very good MRA. It has very decent MRA. In fact, let me check for a second for you. Sorry, I have to tab in and out because I don't have two monitors with me, so I have to tab in and out every time I want to check the stats. It has 89 MRA on the Jag, so very, very impressive. But at the end of the day, it's kind of like you're in this situation where it's like, oh yeah, the MRA is very high, but the top speed isn't very high, so it's not like a car that you can put on the test bowl or even the 1 mile. So unfortunately, I think it's a pretty sus car. I would say that it's better than the Challenger, so maybe on the high end of Nah Man, You Sus. Now let me know what you think about where I'm ranking the Jag down in the comments below. In my opinion, I think it's one of the weaker RQ64s, and I never get to use it. At the end of the day, if you want to use a 4-wheel drive performance tire medium car, you want to go with the Evo 4, especially if we're talking about high RQ ultra rares. Moving on now is the Lamborghini Miura SV, and this one is going to be Bro, You're Respectable. This is a very good car. It's basically what the Challenger should be, but isn't. It doesn't handle, but it has a high top speed and a very low 0 to 60, decent MRA as well, very respectable car, and therefore it deserves its rank. Moving on is the Lancia Delta Integrale Evolution. Now the Lancia Delta Integrale Evolution, I'm going to put in Nah Man, You Sus, because the problem with this car is that the RQ RQ is kind of in the mid ranges, so it's not too low where Hutch would be like, oh, let's do a low RQ Ultra event, which we've seen them done from time to time, and is not as high to be, you know, with the best of the Lancias in the ultra rare category. And the best of the Lancias in the ultra rare category is usually for four-wheel drive medium ground clearance is the Evolution 2, which is the yellow Lancia. So in my opinion, this is a car that I never get to use. I think I've used it many times. I think it's a pretty sus car. Moving on now is the Renault Sport Clio RS 1.6. I'm gonna put that in ICU. This is a car that I used to hate when I came into when I started Top Drives, and I still don't like it. I don't like French cars, but I have realized that I use the Renault Sport Clio quite a lot. It has good handling actually for 52 RQ, and it is also medium ground clearance, also pretty lightweight, making it a pretty, you know, usable car. It is definitely the Joker car of the Motorsport pack. I'm not sure if it has the Motorsport tag anymore. I know it used to have it, but I think they removed it recently. Please correct me if I'm wrong. Moving on now is the TVR Tuscan convertible. The main problem with the Tuscan convertible is that it's overshadowed by cars within its RQ, namely the Roof BTR, which has better MRA, higher top speed, and of course the TVR Timora, which has, I think, a lower, no, not a lower 0 to 60, but it just has better MRA. So the Tuscan convertible has a very low 0 to 60, a very high top speed, attributes you want in a drag car, but it seems to be overshadowed by its peers within its RQ, namely the Timora and the BTR. So because of that reason alone, should I think I should bring it down? I think I should bring it down, to be honest, just because I know how, you know, how little it's used, but I'll move it up to ICU. I mean, I'll move it, you know, above the Subaru and the Renault. So now we move on to the epics. The first one we want to talk about is the Alfa Romeo Disco Volante. Now, the Alfa Romeo Disco Volante is a very respectable car. It has very good MRA. I think it's around 89 MRA, 87 handling, high top speed, and a relatively low 0 to 60. It's a bit of an all-rounder, but unlike the Dodge Challenger that we reviewed earlier, this is an all-rounder that manages to actually get some wins instead of losing by 50. It might be some close calls, but this is a car that, you know, will get you wins from time to time, and definitely, bruh, you're respectable. Moving on is the Audi TTS Coupe. Now, this one, unfortunately, I'm going to put it in, nah, man, you kind of sus. Has four-wheel drive, and it handles, you know, pretty, not really. You see, 85 handling, it's good for an ultra rare. But, you know, for an epic, especially since it's like a higher tier epic, right? It's past RQ70. It is definitely very lackluster. So 85 handling, not very good. If it was 86 or 87, then definitely I'll move it up a couple ranks. 0 to 60 isn't very high as well, and the top speed is very mediocre. It's 155. It's basically, you know, the definition of normal. So unfortunately, the Audi TTS Coupe, in my opinion, not man, sus. I've had it a couple times, and I've used it away every single time. Moving on now is the Bentley Continental Super Sports. Now, the Bentley Continental Super Sports, I'm going to put it in ICU. The handling, once again, isn't good, but at least the 0 to 60 is a lot lower than the Audi TTS. Also has a much higher top speed. Unfortunately, as all Bentleys are, they are incredibly heavy. They are boats. Don't handle very well, but at the end of the day, it is going to beat the Audi TTS on almost every track set, unless we're talking about a G-Force or a slalom. So I'll put this car under ICU. It's not bad, the Continental. It's one of the better Bentleys, right? It's not bad, but it's definitely not good. Moving on is the Bentley Flying Spur V8. Now that is also going to be in nah man, you sus. Handling, you know, is, I want to say, okay, not good, not bad. Now, you Blossom, you're wondering, you know, and I know you're wondering right now, Blossom, why do you think it's okay? It's 81. It's lower than the Audi. The difference of the Audi and the Bentley Flying Spur is that the Flying Spur is medium, and the Audi isn't. So because of that, I'm going to put it in. I mean, at the end of the day, they're still the same rank, but because of that, I'm going to say that the handling is okay, just because I know it's medium. But there are better cars out there, namely the Mitsubishis and even the Subarus, and the Bentley, once again, being like all Bentleys, no MRA, even though there's a high top speed, so it's never really going to hit its top speed on a test wheel with no MRA, and it's also very, very heavy. One niche that the Bentley Flying Spur has, though, is that it's a GE saloon, and there are not many of those lying around. Moving on now is the BMW M4. Now, the BMW M4 puts me in a bit of a pickle. This used to be a very, very good car, because the BMW M4 used to be medium a long time ago. We're talking 2018, 2017, right? It's not medium anymore, but it still has 94 handling, and I think it goes down to like 3.4 or 3.3 0 to 60. It's a very bog standard car. It's what you would expect from an RQ72. Those are the stats of like the Campaign Camaro almost. So it's a very average car, I would say. Top speed, you know, once again, 155, very, very average. So it gets the average rank. Moving on is the BMW X2. That's going to be hot garbage. I see a bit of a trend going on, huh? It's a bunch of four-wheel drive, all-surface tire cars that don't handle. Yeah, because that's basically one of the worst combinations you can ever get. Moving on is the Lotus Esprit V8. The Lotus Esprit V8, once again, I'm going to put in hot garbage. Now, this one I feel like a lot of people might think, oh, maybe I'm being a bit too harsh. Maybe I should put in nah man, you sus. But one thing is for sure, the Lotus Esprit V8 is not a very good car. Top speed is okay. 175, you know, it's over 170, it's respectable. But the 0 to 60 is very bad. I mean, when you think about it, the difference of the Miura, look at the Miura and look at the Esprit, right? One's 53 RQ, 165 RQ. One's at the low end of Epic and one's at the low end of Ultra Rares. And the 0 to 60 difference, come on, look at that, 4.8 to 4.3. And yeah, you might argue, oh Blossom, maybe it's more of a twisty car that you want a 233. Well, at the end of the day, you're gonna get 94 handling if you 233 the Esprit V8. Is that very good? No, because then the cars like the Lotus 340R that would smoke it on any twisty. Now I know the MRI on the Lotus Esprit V8 isn't too bad. It's actually pretty good, but still not worthy. The base stats of this car is just too weak to put it any higher than hot garbage in my opinion. Moving on now is the Mitsubishi Lancer Evo, I think that's 8260. Now this one isn't too bad. You see what I mean? 65 handling, 4-wheel drive medium, and it has 86 handling. That is one handling more than the Audi TTS. And let's not forget that the Mitsubishi is also medium. Now I understand that the 0 to 60 is not in day, and I really shouldn't be comparing both of these cars together. But I would say for a 65 RQ, the Mitsubishi is a pretty good car, pretty good bang for your buck. 0 to 60 is very weak. The only reason why I'm not moving it higher is because I feel like it would lose to the Evo 4 on multiple track sets because the Evo 4 has a lower 0 to 60. I don't know a lot of people that own this Evo Max, so I've never seen a comparison between this Evo and the Evo 4, but I think it's pretty safe to assume that with the 0 to 60 difference in the Evo 4, it should be able to beat the Epic on many of the track sets. I might be wrong though. Moving on now is the Mitsubishi Lancer Evo 10. Now, once again, I'm going to put this in, nah man, you sus. Handling is very good, but the 0 to 60 is quite weak. 69 RQ though, one handling more than the Mitsubishi Lancer. I mean, I guess there is a pretty big difference in 0 to 60, but at the end of the day, I have to say that the Evo 10, I must admit, it's a pretty good car in terms of its stats. The thing is, you know, at the same time, I know that I never use it, and because of that, I'm going to put it in nah man, you sus. Moving on now is the Porsche 911 4S. Now, once again, I'm also going to put in nah man, you sus. A lot of four-wheel drive cars I'm realizing here. The Audi, the Bentley, you know, I would expect that there's probably going to be a lot of rain in this challenge. Once again, I've been away on holiday, so I have not been up to date with the Christmas collection challenge. I'm sure a lot of you guys watching right now may have already finished it. That being said though, even if you finished the challenge or not, this might still be a good pack for you to open regardless, so might want to give it a watch. But yeah, a lot of four-wheel drive cars in here, which makes me think there's probably a lot of rain in the final levels. Moving on is the Porsche 911 Targa 4S. Now, I'm going to put this in ICU. It handles well, and let me check the MRA for you real quick. The MRA on the Porsche 911 Targa, not too good, not too bad, sitting around 75. Definitely, I would think that it's still a decent car. Top speed is relatively high, and the handling is good. 0 to 60, I would say, is a bit of a weak spot, and I don't think it deserves RQ78, maybe more of a 77, 76 car, but I'll put it in ICU. Some cars that would definitely beat the 911 Targa 4S would be the BMW i8s, because they have lower 0 to 60s, and just about the same, if not a little less handling, because I think one of the BMWs have 85, but a much lower 0 to 60. Moving on now is the Roof RK Coupe. Now, the Roof RK Coupe, I'm also going to put it in ICU. Once again, great MRA on this thing. It's in the 90s even. The top speed is high. The handling, you know, no one really cares. The Roof RK Coupe is a bit of a dragster, I would say. So definitely the handling isn't the number one thing that you want to think about. The problem with the Roof RK Coupe is the RQ that it sits in and the competition that it has. Like I said, I'm judging this pack in a general sense. So the Roof RK Coupe is going to be competing with cars like the Hellcats or the Peugeot 908 or whatever the, you know, the diesel one, the super ugly one is. And those cars either have lower 0 to 60s, better MRA, or a combination of both. And unfortunately, Roof, you know, although it's a good car by itself, if you put it up against its competition, it's definitely just a pretty average car, so I'm going to put it in the average rank. Moving on now is the TVR Griffith. The TVR Griffith is definitely, bro, you're respectable. It has insane MRA. In fact, I'm actually going to move it up to my number one. It has insane MRA. I think it's 100 MRA. The 0 to 60 is quite strong, 3.9. There are lower 0 to 60s out there, but it has a very high top speed. It is, by every definition of the word, a better upgrade to the Roof RK. Higher top speed, better MRA, better handling. It's a lighter car, I believe. The 0 to 60 is weaker, but only by 0.1 seconds, and considering that the MRA difference is about 7 or 8, the TVR Griffith is going to beat the Roof RK Coupe on most track sets. In the drag. Definitely in the twisties as well, because the handling difference is just night and day. Moving on now, we're going to go to legendaries. The first one is the Nissan GTR R35, and that is going to be... I see you. Truly, I don't know if I can put it in bro, you're respectable. Maybe I'm being very, very strict, and I might move some of them later, but the thing about the GTR is that, kind of like all GTRs, they have low 0 to 60s, high top speeds, but the problem is they have no MRA, like literally 0 MRA, so it really doesn't matter. The moment it hits 60, it just becomes dead weight. So because of that, I'll put it in ICU for now. The handling isn't that great either, because if you max it out, it'll get about 97. You know, for an RQ87 legendary, which is like mid-tier legend, you kind of want it to hit like 99 or something like that. I get that it's 4-wheel drive, but I feel like the handling could be better if I wanted to bring it up. Moving on is the Alfa Stelvio Quadrifoglio. This one needs no introduction. That is my number one. Definitely the best SUV that you can pull if you don't have the Urus, because yeah, you can't pull the Urus anyway. You have to win that. Moving on is the Aston Martin Vanquish Zagato. Now the Vanquish Zagato is going to be respectable because for RQ81, you are getting the same 0 to 60 as the GTR and better handling. Now, I understand that it's not 4-wheel drive, but at the end of the day, you know, it's a 6 RQ difference for a car with a higher top speed, the same 0 to 60, and better handling. So unfortunately, for the GTR, the Aston Martin Vanquish Zagato, I think, is the better car. A great bargain as well. One of the better handling cars, 89, but like I said, there are cars out there like the Viper ACR, which are capable of hitting 100, and the Aston Martin Vanquish Zagato is just shy of that landmark. Moving on now is the Bentley Continental. I think we're just going to put this in hot garbage. We're also going to put this one in hot garbage. We don't need to talk about those. They're heavy, they don't handle, we don't care about them. Moving on is the BMW X6M, and I'm going to put that in ICU. Handling is actually not that bad. It's 81 handling, 4.0 0 to 60, high top speed, it's a pretty heavy car. You know what? I'm actually going to move it up to bro, respectable. I think I'm being a bit too harsh with some of these upgrades, so I'm going to move it up. Definitely a car that I feel like, you know, we don't need to use too often, but when we need to use it, it comes in handy. Moving on now is the Koenigsegg Regera, and definitely that's my number one. Needs no introduction. Super high top speed, low 0 to 60, lightweight, great MRA, and great handling. Next up is the, I think it's the Superleggera, right? So the Gallardo Superleggera, whatever it's called. Actually not bad. Put it in bro, respectable, because it is one of the better handling Lamborghinis. Not a lot of Lamborghinis are actually capable of hitting 100 handling, but the, you know, the Superleggera, I think it's called Super Trifio Stradale. Sorry, that's not the Superleggera, my bad. But that's one of the few Lamborghinis that's capable of hitting, you know, 100 MRA. So 100 handling. So because of that, I'll put it in bro, respectable. It's one of the better Lamborghinis. Also, it's not too expensive at 91 RQ. Moving on now is the Lamborghini Gallardo. This is the Superleggera. There we go. RQ88. I'm also going to put it in ICU. The 0 to 60 on the Superleggera is atrocious. For 88 RQ, you're telling me that's 3.6. 0 to 60, that is quite embarrassing, to be honest with you. Once again, the handling is okay, you know, just shy of 100, and top speed is okay. That being said, though, much like a lot of Lamborghinis, that's just Alright, moving on now is going to be the McLaren 720S Spider. That is going to be my number one, so let's move it up here. If I had to rank it, I'll put the Stelvio first and the Regera second. And then, yeah, I'll put the 720S there. Very low 0 to 60. It is capable of hitting over 100 handling. High top speed as well. I mean, it also has the convertible tag and the GE tag, making it a very useful car. Moving on now is the Porsche 911 GT3 RS, also my number one. Once again, low 0 to 60, high top speed, and very, very good handling. Very, very good handling for 88 RQ as well. And last but not least is going to be the Porsche Cayenne GTS. Now, the Porsche Cayenne GTS, in my opinion, I'm going to put it with the BMW. Let me do a quick comparison between both SUVs real quick. I just gave it a quick check. The Cayenne is lighter than the X6, and it has well, not relatively, but significantly better MRA than the X6. The Cayenne comes in about 77. So I will put it in the same rank as the X6. At the end of the day, both the Cayenne and the X6M have, I would say, a very positive attribute, which is they're four-wheel drive all-surface tire cars that can handle. They can both get 90 handling, because if you max out an SUV with 81 handling stock, 233, it will hit 90 handling. So 90 handling on an SUV is always, you know, a very good trait. With that said though, this is going to be my final, I would say, judgment of the Christmas collection pack. Maybe I'm a little harsh on the GTR. Maybe a lot of people might move it up a little bit, but I don't know. I have one at almost 2 stars, and I barely ever use it, to be honest with you. But anyway, guys, this is going to be my ranking of the Christmas collection pack. Let me know down in the comments below if you agree or disagree with me. At the end of the day, I would say it's a pretty good pack. I mean, there's definitely hot garbage cars in here, but there's some very good bangers as well. Anything I would say in the first 2 ranks, I would be very happy with, and there are actually cars in the 3rd rank that I would be happy with too. I'm happy with the M4. I would like to get the Porsche 911. You know, the Nissan's okay. It's not good, it's not bad, it's just okay. And the RKR Coupe is the same thing, you know. It's not good, it's not bad, it's okay. It will shine in situations where it's the only car that's needed for, you know what I mean? Like, it's definitely not close to hard garbage like these cars. But anyway, guys, that's going to be it. Let me know if you agree or disagree with me down in the comments below. Sorry that this review is coming out a little late, but I just came back from my holiday, so time to get back to work. But anyway, I hope you guys have a great day. I'm gonna stay safe, wash your hands, and blossom out. Peace.
Bro, this song just makes me so happy.
Me too.
Imagine being Asian in the 50s, looking nifty, leather jacket, looking sleek, look like Presley, look so deadly, got a jukebox back at home, feeling jazzy, turn it on and play it slow, like the movies with the ladies.
They so fine.
Imagine being Asian in the 50s, looking nifty, leather jacket, looking sleek, look like Presley, look so deadly, got a jukebox back at home, feeling jazzy, turn it on and play it slow, like the movies with the ladies.
They so fine.
Sit back, relax in my Bonneville Pontiac. Hold tight all night, cruise to Jacksonville
Atlantic.
Blonde hair, don't care, look like Leslie Brooks. Pin up girls everywhere with the drop dead look. Swing it side to side as we slow dance to the night, when I'll hold your perfect hand and take you out